Look the part, play the part. Yakko sponsors Vanarama National League on BT Sport. Hello everyone, you're watching the Vanarama National League highlights show right here on BT Sport. This weekend we've been at Crabble for a match between Dover Athletic and Forest Green Rovers. It was actually a game that took place towards the end of last season a few times, including in the promotion playoffs. Before we find out what happened this time around, here's what else we've got coming up. Lincoln take over top spot after their 5th straight win. It's another Hawkins hat-trick as the Daggers run riot. And Danny Rowe fires up Macclesfield's promotion challenge. We start then with Dover Athletic hosting top-of-the-table Forest Green and what proved to be the game of the season so far in the National League. Commentary comes from the former Brighton and Celtic defender Adam Virgo and Adam Summerton.
This is Murphy trying to hold off Orlu. This time the free kick goes in favour of the visitors, in a good position for them to try and exploit.
It just gets too tight. When you get in these positions here, you can't win it. You just allow Murphy down there, don't allow him to turn.
Sent in there by Noble, and what a goal! A fabulous free kick. What a start to his career it's been with Forest Green Rovers. The league leaders in front.
Well, it takes a wicked deflection off the wall, it really does. It certainly fooled the former Forest Green goalkeeper. It's been an excellent start so far from Mark Cooper's side.
Thomas, looking to go on the outside of Noble, pulls across a good ball as well. Equaliser! Ricky Miller gets Dover on terms. It's a typical Ricky Miller goal. 13 minutes in, Chris Kinnear's side back in business.
He's just alive in the box every single time. He just needs that one opportunity there to get his side back into the game.
They've done well, and there's a big shout for a penalty, and it's been given. The challenge was by Noble on Thomas. And right at the start of the second half, less than a minute in, it will be a penalty to Dover Athletic. And it's Miller who's placed this here. A player full of confidence. Can he put Dover in front? He can! Ricky Miller gets his second of the game, and Dover Athletic have turned this on its head.
Well, never in doubt. She bounces it into the ground, sending Sam Russell the wrong way.
We've got a good game on our hands at Crabble. And Miller, look at the work rate here. In a right back position, but has been dispossessed in a dangerous area by Pinnock. And now Carter will cross it. Oh, what a great ball! And did that go over the line? It's been given. The header was from Murphy. And Steve Arnold couldn't keep it out. And what a response from Forest Green Rovers, who've levelled it at Crabble.
It's a good reaction save, you can clearly see it going over the line. But this is where you bring quality in from the league. For those two situations of Carter and Murphy, it's a great header. And it's been a great reaction from Mark Cooper's side.
Here's Murphy. It's a cracking game, this, I've got to say. Noble will try and strike it. Oh, and Robert couldn't divert home the rebound, but what an effort from Noble.
It's a great attempt, and that's an excellent save from Steve Arnold.
Look at the space that Noble's got to run into here. Options left and right, he's picked out Murphy, who's up against Orlu. Carter with the shots, and off the underside of the bar. How has that stayed out? Forest Green Rovers agonisingly close again.
We know he's got that quality. Bang on the line. Steve Arnold beaten.
Certainly pressure goes with the territory, doesn't it, at Forest Green? The expectation that they can get promoted, win the title. On the chip is a brilliant one! And what a way for Dover Athletic to retake the lead. A lovely finish, a sumptuous finish by Ross Lafayette.
And the ball comes over here. Sam Russell comes running out. Complete control. And just dinks it over Sam Russell.
Noble inside the final 5 minutes as Moore gets possession, now Noble. And free with a run into the area, and Deutsch! They're level again! It's the substitute, Christian Deutsch, who makes it 3-3 here at Crabble. An amazing game.
Great reverse ball there. Don't watch the eyes, hit the target. We've got a thrilling finish now, Adam.
Instant control by Miller, has Lafayette up in support. Stevenson's arriving as well. Miller! It's a rocket! It's a hat-trick for Ricky Miller! It is quite simply stunning from Dover! It's a 7-goal thriller at Crabble, and it looks as though Dover are going to be on the right end of the scoreline.
That is an amazing strike. Just sits up beautifully on that left foot. He's always looking to shoot. And what a goal that is to potentially win this game for Dover.
We're not there to let them play.
No.
We're there to get chances for us. So, you know, you stand off and let the other team play. Why? We've got to get at them, which we did. Every one of the players had a real go. And as I say, I think we deserved the win, really.
We didn't play well today. You know, it's the worst we've played this season. Credit to Dover. You know, they man-marked us all over the pitch, but we need to be better than that. But saying that, we scored 3 goals away from home, and you should get something, and we've missed a hatful of chances, of real good chances as well. So, defensively, we're awful, and we need to do, or I need to do something about that.
With Forest Green failing in the early kick-off, both Tranmere and Lincoln knew victory would take them top of the table. 2 of the big hitters in the division facing off at Prenton Park. Danny Cowley's team arrived on Merseyside on a run of 4 wins on the spin, and it took just 5 minutes for Lincoln loanee Macaulay Bonne to sting the palms of Tranmere keeper Scott Davies. Tranmere boss Gary Brabin felt his team were hard done by in the first half, as fullback Lee Vaughan's cross appeared to strike the hand of Lincoln's Alex Woodyard. No penalty, said referee Martin Coy. Lincoln looked the more likely, and they found the breakthrough with a third of the game to go. Terry Hawkridge with a devilish cross, and Bonne not to be denied. A first goal on his first start for the club after signing on loan from Colchester, and all 3 points for Lincoln, who leap to the summit of the National League.
Well, we're pleased. Obviously, it's not an easy place to come. Tranmere are an excellent team, big club. And sometimes when you come to grounds like this and play teams like Tranmere, you've got to stop them first. And credit to the players, because I thought we were really good without the ball today. I thought defensively we were excellent. You know, there was a lot of team-orientated performance from the players. And obviously, it's nice to get on the right side of a tight game.
Macclesfield travelled to Hayes Lane looking for some consistency they hope will underpin a playoff push. Back-to-back defeats have been followed by 2 wins in a row. By contrast, it looks like it could be another battle against the drop for Bromley. Just the 1 home victory so far, and they were behind after only 21 minutes. Danny Rowe's strike as spectacular as they come, but helped by a crucial deflection. Neil Smith's men haven't kept a clean sheet all season and were in the familiar position of chasing an equaliser. Toby Show-Silver's header came back off the crossbar before keeper Craig Ross denied Bromley skipper Joe Anderson as Macclesfield took their lead into half-time. The hosts continued to hammer at the door after the interval, Blair Turgott getting in behind, but his effort was somehow smuggled off the line by John McCoon. And when Bromley finally found a way past Macclesfield's resistance, the woodwork was there to deny defender Rob Swain. John Askey's men threatened to breach the Bromley backline again. Substitute Jack Sampson couldn't get the better of goalkeeper Alan Julian. After opening the scoring, it was almost left to Rowe to have the last word as he forced another save out of Julian. Macclesfield secure their 3rd win on the spin as they stay in the top 5.
Braintree are struggling to replicate the phenomenal success of last season, where they finished 3rd in the National League. Just 1 win so far this campaign. They faced the Gateshead side, who'd lost their last 3 games on the road. Jamie Day watched in horror as his team were carved apart after 23 minutes. Rhys Dyche calmly chipping in his first goal for Gateshead since signing from Macclesfield in the summer. Braintree's defensive record at home was the best in the division last year, but it's a different story this season. Styche with a free header 7 minutes after the break to double his and Gateshead's tally. If the hosts are to turn their fortunes around, they'll be heavily reliant on Michael Cheek. 15 goals last time out for Braintree. This, his first of the current campaign, to bring his team back in it. But Neil Aspin's side restored their 2-goal advantage with 20 minutes to play. All too easy for Pat McLaughlin to turn and get his shot away. McLaughlin finding the back of the net for the first time since February. And they weren't done there. Top scorer Wes York on hand to register his 4th in a Gateshead shirt and make it 4-1. Their best haul in an away game for nearly 3 years.
I thought we played some good football at times. And very unlike my normal visits to Braintree, we actually scored some goals and made some chances, and possibly could have got a couple more and you know, scored 5 or 6.
The confidence isn't great at the minute. You know, obviously when you get beaten 3 home games, we've conceded more than 2 goals, which is, you know, is not very good, and we're disappointed. So yeah, I've got to try and, you know, get the boys' spirits up and going to Tuesday, but at the same time the boys have got to look at themselves and, you know, and demand, you know, more from them and need to start putting in better performances than we have done.
3 clubs have already disposed of their managers so far this season in the National League, and 2 of them met at the Silver Lake Stadium. It was the first match in charge for new Southport coach Steve Burr after the sacking 7 days earlier of Andy Bishop. It was Ronnie Moore's Eastleigh who came closest to a first-half breakthrough. Andy Drury's free kick, failing to find the target. Eastleigh had won all 3 games since the appointment of Moore, and they led 6 minutes into the second half. Not much for Mikhail Mandron to aim at, but the former Sunderland man found the corner in some style. Confidence was clearly high among the Eastleigh players. This audacious attempt from James Constable, dropping only just wide. With 20 minutes to play, Burr brought on striker James Gray. 60 seconds later, an immediate impact, his first goal since signing for Southport from Wrexham in the summer, and enough to rescue an unlikely point.
I felt that we contained Eastleigh a lot of the game today. Obviously when we went behind, it was trying then to change things around to get ourselves in a more attacking position, and thankfully we got, I think the equaliser was deserved for the effort that the lads have put in.
The final ball wasn't good enough, the final pass wasn't good enough, but when we go 1-0 up, it should be enough. You know, no disrespect to Southport, but if we want to be in the top 5, we have to be winning games like this.
The visit of Chester to the Wreck would have brought back painful memories for Aldershot fans who saw their team lose 8-2 in Cheshire back in March. Goals seemingly guaranteed in this matchup. And it was the visitors who had the better of the first 45 minutes. Ryan Lloyd's effort cannoning off the woodwork. Spirits were high at Aldershot after victory in their previous 4 home games, and they were much improved after the interval. Chester keeper Liam Roberts deceived by the bounce of the ball, but redeeming himself with a point-blank save from Scott Rendell. Gary Waddock's team were looking to make it 5 out of 5 in front of their own fans this season. Mensah's cross was scooped over the bar by Matt McClure. But Chester hung on in Hampshire for their first clean sheet on the road since February.
Dagenham and Redbridge's promotion push was wobbling after back-to-back defeats. They were looking to get back on track against a Solihull side who had lost their last 3 going into this one. Oliver Hawkins had already given the Daggers the lead before Fajiri Okunbahiri made it 2 a few minutes before half-time. The Solihull defence inexplicably opening up to allow the former Arsenal man to sweep home. Jordan Maguire-Drew has been in sparkling form for John Still's side so far this season, and his stock continues to rise. That thunderous strike from the Brighton loanee made it 3 moments after the break. Solihull had started their first season at this level impressively, taking 7 points from their opening 3 games, but Marcus Bignot's side have struggled in recent weeks, and it was all too easy for Dagenham here. Hawkins grabbing his 2nd and Dagenham's 4th with half an hour left to play. But to their credit, the Moors didn't give up, and 2 quick-fire goals gave them a glimmer of hope. First, Andy Brown volleyed in via a deflection. And 3 minutes later, Jamie Osborne's deflected half volley gave Elliot Justin in the Dagenham net no chance. But there was to be no heroic comeback, and in the dying minutes, the visitors were awarded a penalty after Corey Whiteley was tripped by Jean-Yves Kouniate. Up stepped that man Hawkins to complete his second hat-trick in 4 games. He now has 7 for the season, taking him top of the National League scoring charts. A convincing victory for the Daggers, leaving them 3 points off the top.
Well, you know, to win away from home is always good. To score 5 goals is brilliant. You know, we've got a few people out injured. It was a first-class performance for us. I'm disappointed for the players a bit because they got 2 deflected goals you can do nothing about. But our performance today was very, very good.
Bottom of the table, Guiseley welcomed fellow strugglers Woking to Nethermoor Park, still looking for their first win of the season. And once again, caretaker manager Adam Lockwood took his place in the dugout as the Yorkshire side continued their search for a permanent boss. Woking in yellow have also had a miserable start to the campaign, but came closest to opening the scoring in the early stages. Denan Lewis's fierce drive testing Johnny Maxted in the Guiseley goal. The hosts, though, hit back almost immediately. Nicky Clee, unlucky to see his effort, flashed just past the post. Having lost their opening 7 games, Guiseley stopped the rot in last weekend's 0-0 draw with Braintree. They took the lead here just 2 minutes after half-time. Adam Boys with a fine finish to raise hopes of that elusive first victory. But once again, it wasn't to be, as Woking pegged them back with 8 minutes remaining. Fabio Sareva headed in via a deflection to send Gary Hill's team back to Surrey with a share of the spoils. Guiseley remain in last place, and a point wasn't enough to take Woking out of that bottom 4.
York travelled to Torquay looking to bring their away day blues to an end. They hadn't won on the road in their last 24 attempts, a run stretching back to September last year. But any hopes boss Jackie McNamara had of ending that record were dented after only 6 minutes as Torquay's powerful number 9 Nathan Blissett opened his account for the season. York, though, almost replied immediately. Richard Brodie, unfortunate to see his curling effort come off the woodwork before Aidan Connolly was adjudged to be just offside. Blissett hit 8 goals in 17 games last season and doubled his tally for the day on the half-hour mark, slamming home after Dan Sparks' knockdown. Into the second half, and York almost reduced the deficit through Matt Fry. Brendan Moore with the acrobatics to deny the man signed from Braintree in the summer. That's 3 wins from 4 now for Torquay, but yet another frustrating journey for McNamara.
2 sides promoted via the playoffs met for the first time in any competition as Maidstone travelled to North Ferriby looking to continue their promising start to life in English football's 5th tier. Liam Vanarama opened his Maidstone account 6 minutes into his debut in last week's 2-2 draw with Wrexham, and on his first start for the club, it took the former Oxford City striker just 11 minutes to make it 2-2 as he swept home from Tom Mills's low cross. North Ferriby have struggled so far to adapt to life in the National League, but they were given a helping hand in the 43rd minute by Stones defender Jack Evans, the former Gillingham man seeing red after bundling over Reece Thompson. Undeterred by going a man down, the visitors doubled their lead just after half-time. Alex Flisher with a crisp drive into the bottom corner, the winger's 3rd of the season. The Villagers are now without a goal in over 6 hours of football. They thought they'd ended that run with 15 minutes remaining as Kevin Locko turned the ball into his own net, but the goal somehow disallowed for offside. A job well done for Jay Saunders' Maidstone, but there were few positives North Ferriby boss Steve Howsham could take from this one.
The first 15 minutes we started sloppy. Yet again we've conceded a goal in the first 10 minutes. We came back into it a wee bit first half. Second half, we conceded after 3 minutes again when I'm down to 10 men. And for once, we looked a beaten side. And, you know, I don't like that. The players, you know, don't like that as well. So, you know, we've got to pick ourselves up. But I would say that was our worst performance of the season so far.
The smallest crowd at the racecourse this season greeted a Wrexham side who had only managed 3 goals in 4 home games so far. Not ideal for a team attempting to return to the Football League for the first time since 2008. As for Sutton, they wanted to be back in the points after a 1-0 loss at Gateshead last weekend, a clash they dominated but failed to take their chances in. It appeared to be the same story here as Paul Doswell's team controlled the opening stages, first Maxime Biamou testing Shwan Jalal from distance. Then Curtis Tilt did well to turn an effort from Vicente Gomis around the post. It's said that if you don't take your chances, you'll be punished, and that's what happened here. Sean Newton driving through 2 Sutton defenders to register his 2nd goal of the campaign. Despite their inconsistent form, Wrexham are only 3 points off the top 5. Sutton are left cursing missed chances as they drop to 15th.
Barrow unbeaten at home, Boreham Wood unbeaten on the road. Surely something had to give when these two met at Holker Street. Luke Garrard's team shocked high-flying Dagenham and Redbridge last week, winning 2-0 at Victoria Road, and they almost took the lead here on 63 minutes. Joel Dixon getting down well to keep out Angelo Balanta. Barrow's encouraging start to the season saw them sitting just outside the playoff spots at the start of the day, and they went ahead in the 69th minute. Mark Ricketts brought down Byron Harrison, who dusted himself off to convert from the spot, his 3rd goal in the last 3 home games. An 85th minute Bromley equaliser prevented Paul Cox's side from taking all 3 points last time out, and victory was snatched from Barrow even later this time. Morgan Ferrier's 91st minute diving header, salvaging a draw for Boreham Wood.
So the National League leadership has changed hands once again, and it's now Lincoln who occupy top spot after stunning the early season pace setters Tranmere at Prenton Park. They're 2 points clear of Forest Green Rovers, who dropped back to 2nd after finishing on the wrong side of that 7-goal thriller at Dover. Dagenham and Redbridge's 5-goal haul at Solihull has lifted them into 4th, and Macclesfield stay 5th after Danny Rowe's cracker won the game at Bromley. It's as you were in the bottom 4, with Guiseley picking up only their 2nd point of the season in the draw with fellow strugglers Woking. Southport, meanwhile, will be happy with a point from their trip to Eastleigh in new manager Steve Burr's first game in charge. Don't forget to be with us next Saturday for live and exclusive coverage of Sutton United against Tranmere Rovers. BT Sport 1 from 11:45 a.m. That's your lot this week. If you ever miss the Vanarama National League highlights show on BT Sport, you can catch up anytime online at btsport.com or via our YouTube channel. See you again soon.
Look the part, play the part. Yakko sponsors Vanarama National League on BT Sport.